Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. All right, everybody. I'm back. Good to be back. Want to go ahead and get to a little piece of news that I saw here over the last couple days. Don't think it's like a full Aaron Torres pod, but it's a Thursday. It's June. It's a little bit quieter. NBA draft is going on. We're not doing a full show because of the presidential debate, but did see a piece of news that I think is at least worth just breaking down here really quickly on a Thursday. That is because if you believe one of the recruiting experts over at On3, and I do because I know him and I like him a lot, it appears as though John Calipari is about to get his first mega commitment from a player that was not committed to him at Kentucky, did not play for him at Kentucky, but the first five-star difference-making kid that has no Kentucky ties that could end up at Arkansas. So thought it was at least worth discussing, thought it was at least worth debating. Let's go ahead and get into it. And oh, by the way, as always, remember, make sure you're following our Torres on the Hogs account for all of your late-breaking Hogs news because that boy, oh boy, there's going to be plenty over the course of the summer. Oh, by the way, we got plenty of those big pig invasion t-shirts too. But let's go ahead and get into it. The player is named Darius Acuff, okay? About a 6'3" guard. He is, how about this? #1 ranked point guard in the class of 2025. Originally from Detroit, now plays at IMG. Really kind of actually a very interesting story, okay? So he's a kid, he has a cousin or an uncle, I believe it is, who does some media stuff named Rashad Phillips. I've worked with Rashad a few times. I think he's great, good, talented guy, great kind of analyzing and covering basketball. I bring it up because his uncle, like probably 2 years ago, was like, I'm just telling you, my nephew, he's coming up. He's going to be next. Wait until his senior year. He's going to be one of the best point guards in the country. Well, we have gotten to that point. Last summer, this kid blew up, originally from Detroit, as I said, and by the end of the summer, he had offers from pretty much everywhere. Obviously, Kentucky when Cal was there, Kansas, Alabama, UConn, the list goes on. And it's because, frankly, he turned himself into one of the best players in America. 6'3" guard, super athletic, super quick twitch, can get to the rim. In some ways, he kind of just reminds me a little bit of Rob Dillingham, who played at Kentucky last year, only if Rob Dillingham had another inch or two on him. Another thing about him that stands out, you watch him, he's kind of big and strong and physical. He's not like a physical, like a big guard, but he's strong for his size. Again, super athletic, can get to the rim. And so I bring it up because he's the #1 point guard in America, top 5 prospect according to 24/7 Sports. And just the other day, I saw my buddy Jacob Polchek from KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio, who has covered recruiting for a while. I know Jacob. He actually did some work for me when we started Aaron Torres Media. Great kid, loves recruiting, knows ball, and he ain't going to put in crystal balls unless he's 100% certain, okay? Well, I bring it up because I think it was Monday afternoon. He put in a crystal ball for Darius Acuff to go to play at Arkansas in the 2025-26 season. I went ahead and followed up with a couple people that I know around the Arkansas community. They said, yeah, we feel pretty good about this one. And let me just say this. If Cal gets this kid, it is proof he ain't going anywhere. Arkansas ain't going anywhere. And as long as he is coaching college basketball, he is going to have a team that is good enough to compete at the highest levels of this sport. So what's interesting about it is a couple things. First of all, I think if this happens, and by the way, it's not official yet, and we'll obviously break it down when it does become official. But at the same time, why I do think it's important is for two kind of big picture, small picture reasons. First of all, this kid is the exact kind of player who has absolutely thrived under John Calipari in his career. Cal's best teams, it's no secret, everybody knows, is when he has that elite lead guard, kind of playmaking NBA level caliber point guard. If you can get to the rim, if you can finish, if you can create for others, that's when Cal's had his best teams. Go all the way back to Derrick Rose, Memphis, 2008. Tyreek Evans, Memphis, 2009. John Wall, Kentucky, 2010. Some of these other really good Kentucky teams have had the same. Even this past year, I know it's easy to dismiss DJ Wagner. Kentucky was at its best when DJ Wagner was starting and healthy to start the year. That's when they beat Florida, or they beat North Carolina in the out-of-conference. It's when they beat Florida to open SEC play in the O-Dome. It's when they nearly beat Kansas, which was a preseason number one team in the country, in Chicago for the Champions Classic. And so Cal's best teams have always had this dude, and if you get this dude, that is a major, major, major kind of notch under your belt to get going for 2024, 2025, 2026, as we're already looking ahead. Two, and I think this is important. This obviously, if you can get this commitment done soon, if you can get it done early, that's huge for the entire recruiting cycle as it is. We know good players want to play with other good players. And so it's not quite like in football where you get the quarterback first and then the quarterback recruits everybody else. But if you can get this kid committed, then he becomes the best recruiter that you have on the circuit. When it's a dead period, when you can't talk to players, when there's events where you're not allowed to communicate with players, you know who's going to be there wearing that Arkansas red, telling them come play for Coach Cal? It's going to be Darius Acuff. And so that's another reason why you want to get this done. And then third, and I think this is an important thing as well. I think to me, this proves, and we've talked about it really since Cal took the job in April, this proves the Calipari brand is strong, it's thriving, it's alive, and it's well. Because at the end of the day, listen, I'll be honest, and we talked about it back in April. I really did wonder. I said, okay, all these kids wanted to come play for Cal, but they wanted to come to Kentucky too. Kentucky, the blue blood, Kentucky that's had multiple eras of dominance in this sport. The bluest of blue bloods, greatest tradition in college basketball. That's what they say to open every game at Rupp Arena. So you have that. And I did wonder, once Cal left, is he still going to be able to get the same caliber of player? And as I've said many times, I think the most fascinating thing that he did was the talent that he was able to accumulate in Fayetteville, not just the transfers, not just the players who followed him, but I thought the 3 4 to 5-star kids that he brought with him who were committed to Kentucky, who flipped, were as impressive as anything that he did all offseason since he's gotten to Arkansas. Because like I said at the time, Boogie Flan, Billy Richmond, Carter Knox, the 3 freshmen that'll be part of that Arkansas team next year, none of them had any ties to Arkansas. It's not like when they committed to Cal at Kentucky, it was like Kentucky or Arkansas. They had taken multiple visits or they were from the state of Arkansas. I know Billy Richmond is originally from Memphis, so that's a little bit different. But all of those guys totally bet on Cal, totally believed in Cal, and I thought it was a great sign then, but I think it'll be an even greater sign if you can get this kid committed, signed, not signed and sealed. That's not official till November, but you get this kid committed, that is a real, real big deal. And so credit Coach Cal. We'll see if this happens. It sounds like it might happen soon. I would add too, by the way, there is one little like pseudo trickle-down effect from this. And I don't want to oversell it, but I do think it's interesting is that just after the crystal ball came in for Darius Acuff, another elite guard who is being heavily recruited by my alma mater, the University of Connecticut, Malik Thomas, was supposed to visit Arkansas, didn't totally cancel a visit, but kind of did say that he's postponing it. And so you wonder if there's that trickle-down effect of if Darius Acuff is silently committed or it feels like he's on his way or it's all but a done deal, you do start to wonder, does that mean that Malik Thomas is off the board for Arkansas? Now, if I know Coach Cal, he'll figure out a way to take both. If you're going to take Rob Dillingham, DJ Wagner together, let alone Reed Shepherd developing, I think Cal would take both. But you do wonder if that makes Malik Thomas more likely to be a UConn commit or someone else. I know Malik Thomas has taken some other visits, Auburn, etc. But I just bring it up. This is a heck of a piece of news. We're not going to oversell it. We're not going to get too excited. But do think it is worth noting that Darius Acuff, the number 1 point guard in America, appears to be trending towards Arkansas. And if you believe Jacob Polchek, and I do because he's really good at what he does, He just might be the first big Arkansas commit in 2025, which leads, by the way, to one very quick question. That question, yeah, you all want to know, can anything stop the Big Pig invasion? That is right. Can anything stop the Big Pig invasion? T-shirts available, EraTorresOnline.com/merchandise.